Alright guys, so now we're going to continue working on the details page. I want to have the client's balance over here, but not only that, I want to be able to have a little edit button here. If we click that, then another input's going to pop up where we can actually edit the balance from here. Okay, I also want to implement class binding so that if the client has a zero balance, the text will be green. If not, then the text will be red. Okay, and this is all stuff that we've learned in the past. Now we're just implementing them in a project. All right, so let's go to let's see, where are we? Right here. Balance goes here. We're gonna get rid of that, and let's put an H3 in here, and I'm gonna give it a class of pull right. And let's see, in this H3, let's say balance, and then we're gonna put actually, you know what, for now let's just put the client balance. Alright, let's see if that shows up. Good, so now we have the balance. So now what we'll do is I want to make it red if it's a zero balance, and if we look in the client details component TS, we have this has balance property set to false. Now once we go and we get the client through the service, if the client balance is greater than 0, then it's going to be true. So we want to make it so that it's green if they don't have a balance, and it's red if it's true. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go back to our HTML, and we're going to go, where do we want to do this? Let's go right above the client balance, and let's put in a span. So this will just be a span, and in here we're going to do some property binding. So let's do a bracket, and we're going to say class dot text dash danger, which is a Bootstrap 4 class, and it just makes the text red. So we want to set that if the client has a balance. Okay, if their has balance property is true, and then we'll go right under it, and let's say class dot text dash success, which will make it green, and we want that to happen if they don't have a balance. So exclamation mark has balance. Okay, and that should take care of that. So let's save, and let's go. Okay, so it doesn't look like that's working. Let's see. Span class. Oh, we didn't put the client balance in the span. Silly. That's silly. Alright, so Mary's balance is 0, so it's green. If we go to someone that has a balance, it's red. Now let's just format that as currency using a pipe, which we've already done in the past. So where we have our balance, we'll put a pipe character. Let's say currency, and that's going to be USD, and then another parameter of true, which will give us the symbol. And there we go. Awesome. So now what I want to do is I want to have a little icon here that we can click on, and if we click on it, it's going to open up an input where we can edit the client's balance. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go right under the span here, and I'm going to put this in a small tag actually. So we'll have a small tag, and then let's do an A tag. Oops. Let's do an A tag here, and we can get rid of the href. We're going to have a click event here. So click. Okay, and then once that's clicked, we're going to have a function called show balance update input. Okay, show balance update input, because we want to show the form. Alright, let's see. Actually, you know what? We're not going to call a function. We're just going to say show balance update input equals not show balance update input, and that's just going to toggle it from true to false. Okay, this is actually a property in our component set to false by default, but we want to be able to toggle it to true and then back to false. Alright, and then inside the A, let's just put an icon with the class of FA, and then FA dash pencil, and we'll save that. And now it should look like this. Now if I click it, nothing happens. We should actually get an error. Actually, no, we're not getting an error. What it's doing is just toggling that property back and forth. So what we want to do is then add, let's see, we want to have a form underneath it. So right under the small tag, or under the H3 rather, let's go ahead and just do a clear fix, because remember we floated this to the right, so I just want to clear it. So we'll have a div with the class of clear fix, and then under that we're going to have our form. Alright, so form. Now this is going to have an ng if, because we only want it to show if this value right here, show balance update input, is true. Alright, so we'll say ng if show balance update info. Okay, so if that's true, then we want this to display, and it's going to have a submit event, and that's going to go to a function called update balance. Okay, and then update balance is just going to take in the ID. Let's also give this a class of form inline, and also pull right. I can't type. Alright, we'll close the form tag. Let's see what else. So inside here, let's have a form group. Okay, and in this form group we're going to have an input, and let's see, we'll give it a class of form control, and it's going to be a text input, and then we want to bind it to the client balance property. So let's do an ng model, and we'll set that equal to client.balance. And then we also need a name attribute with balance. Alright, that should do it. Then we need a button to update it. So let's go under the form group, which is right here, under the div with the class of form group. We're going to put a button. Let's give it a class of btn, and also btn-primary. And let's see, we're just going to say update, and let's give this a type of button as well. Or I'm sorry, a type of submit. Okay, so let's save, and we'll go back. And now if I click this thing here, nothing's happening because we don't have that function created yet, I believe. No, we didn't create the function. Let's see, do we have the property? Aha, we don't have the property. So under this ID right here, alright, remember this is the client details component TS file. So we're going to have a client here which has the type of client. Did I bring that in? Yes, I did. Oops, this is wrong. That's not where I want to put this. Oh, we do have show balance update input. Set to false. Show balance update input. Did I match them correctly? Show balance update input. And then this form will only show if show balance, oh, aha, info. That should be input. There we go. So now when I click it, the form shows, and we can toggle it. Good. So I just want to put a line break under that to move the rest down. So let's go under the form and just put a line break. Oops. Actually, let's put 2 line breaks. Why is that not working? Actually, you know what? Let's not put the line break. Let's just put an HR right here. There we go. So that looks good. So let's see. So when we submit this, it's trying to call a function. What do we call that function? Update balance. So that's what we need to create next. So let's go back into our TS file, go under ng on init, and say update balance. Okay, and then let's see. The update balance is going to take in an ID of that client, which we can just say it's going to be a string. And then let's just update the client. So we'll do this dot client service dot update client. Okay, and we're going to pass in this dot ID, and then we also want to pass in this dot client. Okay, now after we do that, then we just want to set a flash message. So I'm just going to paste this in. Okay, so we're using the flash message service. That actually shouldn't have an underscore. And then we're going to say balance updated, alert success for the class, and then navigate back to that particular client. Okay. Yeah, so let's save that and let's try it out. Actually, we have to create update client inside of the service, so let's do that. Now, right now, we're only using this function to update the balance, but later on, we're going to implement a full edit client page where we can edit all of the info. All right, now this is going to be pretty simple. It's just going to take in ID, which is a string, and then also the client, which is obviously the type of client. And then all we have to do is say return. We're going to do return this dot clients dot update, and we're going to pass in ID and client, and that should do it. So let's save, and now we should be able to update the balance. So let's see, this is John Doe. Let's change his balance. Let's say he made a $50 payment, so we're going to change this to 50. You can see that changes right away. We update, we get balance updated, and if we go back, John Doe now only owes $50. All right, so we can update our balance. Good. So we're going to stop here. In the next video, we're going to take care of this edit and delete functionality. We want to be able to do that. Once that's done, we can move on to authentication.